think that tabletop space has a little bit of a community problem. Now, I don't want that to be a dig. I don't want people to get up in arms. But hear me out. Hear me out. And I think where it comes back to is just proper discourse and feedback and communication, right? So the way I interpret, now let me say this. I think there's a lot of wonderful people in the TTRPG space, and I think that there are pockets of wonderful communities. But I think it's important to understand what your goal is as a community, right? When I think of community, I think of, and I'm not looking up Webster's dictionary, I'm just kind of talking to you about what I think of as a community. I think of a community as helpful, right? Lifting up others and the group. I think a community is also I'm not going to say policing, but self sort of healing. Let's say healing. So I'm going to put policing, just give me a second. Policing, right? I don't think that's how you spell it, but I'm okay. And then finally, I would say constructive. Maybe it's constructive. Maybe this is constructive. Now, what do I mean by this? I think a lot of times when you see TTRPG communities, what they're actually doing is you have a lot of people shouting their opinions to each other, and they're doing this from a space of seeking validation, right? And that's not a bad thing. I do that all the time. Look, I'm on YouTube right now. When I first started doing YouTube, it was because I thought, I think I've got some good ideas. Let me put them on YouTube. And then you get some likes and you get some subscribers, and you go, huh, people like me, right? Or you feel appreciated for your ideas. And that feels awesome, right? And I think that's what a lot of people in different TTRPG spaces, I think that's what they're doing, right? They're hoping that they feel like, I've got some good ideas, and they're putting them out there, and they're hoping that other people like their ideas. And that's a great thing, right? You should be putting out your ideas. But if you want to be a community, well, now it's a little different. Now you need to be also listening to others' ideas, and here we go back to this idea of trying to lift them up and be helpful and be constructive. We recently had on, and I think that we have a great Discord channel for Jface. I think that we have a strong, fun community of a lot of people that are really trying to create games. But I think that what happens often is people get opinions, and when they have strong opinions, they want to voice them. And when you voice them, sometimes people have differing opinions. And the next thing is when you find out if your community is a strong community or not, or if it is an actual community, right? Because something's going to happen where someone's going to feel, what are the feelings you get? Feelings you're going to get is either A, you will potentially feel offended, picked on, targeted, right? Or you might feel the other person is aggressive, offended, lashing out, right? Like, these are the two things that might happen. You're talking to people, you're voicing your opinion, they're voicing their opinion, and all of a sudden things get tense. On a forum or Reddit, the response is, I'm going to yell my opinions until this person backs down, or I'm going to hope that other people join me and now there's more of me and less of them, right? And this is almost like I'm trying to find more tribes to help me out, that have my beliefs. And that's fine for Reddit, that's fine for forums, but if you're a community, that's not your intent, right? What you're supposed to be doing is reflecting and being constructive. If I start feeling like I am being targeted or picked on or offended, what I need to do is now pump the brakes, because I'm about to get emotional, right? Or defensive. And I need to say, hey, just to give you a heads up, I feel strong about this opinion, and I'm willing to listen to yours, but I feel pretty strong about mine, and I'm starting to feel this way, right? And if I see the other person starting to be aggressive, if I feel fine, if I feel like I'm just talking, but I feel like the other person is getting more aggressive or more outlandish, I might say, hey, if I'm offending you in any way, that's not my intent, I'm sorry. let me hear you out a little bit more. Why don't you help describe it? Why don't I just ask you a couple questions that are earnest, honest questions, because I want to know more, right? I think that's important. That's now a community, right? The other way is not a community. Now you've got a community, and I think that's the other important thing where it's like questions. I wrote a article or newsletter at some point in time about feedback and the different sort of tiers of feedback, and I think that one of the most important things is that if you're really trying to help people, we get excited. We get excited about sharing our ideas, but you need to pump the brakes in sharing your ideas. If someone has expressed something, pump the brakes on your own ideas, opinions. Ooh. Ask questions, right? If you're trying to be a part of a community and someone has broached a question, maybe they need to do a good job of constructing that question. So it's not like a, hey, how do you guys do this? Because that's going to be, people are going to jump at that, right? Because they're going to just tell you how they do it. But if you say something, hey guys, this is how I'm thinking about doing something, or this is what I'm doing in my game, you know, can you help me think through where my limitations are, right? Something like that, right? Or where my hangups might be in this. And so then they might ask questions. It's better to ask questions. A lot of times people would go straight into an anecdote. Oh, this is what happens when I do this. And that's fine. That can be helpful. But I think the first thing is clarifying questions. You know, I'm a mentor in my real job. So I go out and I mentor clinicians, and when we're a lot of what I do is ask questions, right? And a lot of my questions are trying to get at the intentions of the individual. So ask questions, and I would say focus on intentions. Because if you can do that, you can really help someone, and now you're helping in a constructive way to potentially lift up that other member of the community. And now you've got a community, and hopefully then they do the same thing back for you. And so I hope this was helpful. This was very much geared towards you know, I love TTRPGs, and I love the community around TTRPGs. And to be honest, I stay off a lot of forums and other Discord channels or Twitter because I just don't like the communication style. It's a lot of shouting into the void more than it is having a conversation. And I think that this is the kind of thing that I'd like to see more of. I want to do it more on my own Discord channel, and I hope to see it in other communities, and then I hope the communities get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And then we bridge, etc. Anyways, that's it for today. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe, watch one of these videos up here and here, and we'd love to hear more from you.